Good morning and welcome to the Wichita State University Weekly Briefing. I'm Tracy Freese, Director of Communication for Industry and Defense Programs. These briefings are held in an effort to keep the campus and public better informed about the progress occurring at Wichita State. Following today's update and featured topic, there will be a time for questions. President Jay Golden's Convergence Sciences Initiative offers more than $1 million in research awards to Wichita State faculty, staff, and students. The focus is on research that addresses societal problems. Broadly defined themes are health disparities and health delivery, digital transformation, sustainability, and a wildcard theme. Successful proposals will be funded for 3 years with the budget not to exceed $100,000 per year. Proposals are especially encouraged from researchers working with students across academic disciplines and at different points in their research careers. The deadline is May 1 for the first round of proposals. For information, go to wichita.edu/academics/convergence_sciences. 9 task forces that examine all aspects of the university, part of President Golden's commitment to shared governance, are nearing the midway point. The task forces are Engagement and Regional Prosperity, which is preparing an inventory and gap analysis of WSU programs that support local, regional, and statewide community collaborations. Diversity, Human Resources, and Professional Development, which is exploring the creation of a unified Office of Diversity, Human Resources, and Professional Development that would better leverage our personnel and resources. Military and veteran and first responders is preparing an inventory of WSU programs that support these groups and their families. Foundation and Alumni Affairs is evaluating opportunities to integrate the WSU Foundation and Alumni Association programs to maximize giving to the university and alumni engagement. Campus Community Inclusion is evaluating options for programs on campus to further enhance the student and campus community experience. New Academic and Institutional Partnerships is evaluating requests for WSU to add partnerships for academic and research programs, including programs located in Chihuahua, Mexico, and a possible dental school. Access to Higher Education is exploring ways to enhance and expand our affiliation with WSU Tech in a manner that will increase opportunities for all Kansans to have access to higher education. Finances is providing recommendations on financial stability, sustainability, transparency, public-private partnerships, parking, and lead development of a planning process in case of a future economic recession. Athletics is evaluating options for the addition of new varsity and club sports. More information on the task forces is available at wichita.edu/administration/president/task_forces. In addition, university staff members are invited to a town hall with Dr. Golden from 1:15 to 2:15 p.m. on Thursday, March 5th in the CAC Theater. This is an opportunity to ask questions and get a sense of President Golden's vision for the university and how it relates to the staff experience. Golden plans to lead 2 town halls with each college every semester and 1 town hall for staff. Yesterday, Wichita State and WSU Ventures announced a strategic new partnership with California-based Lightning Diversion Systems, a Ducommun company. President Golden and Dave Wilmot, Vice President and General Manager of the Engineered Products Group for Ducommun, signed an agreement that is the result of several years of research and development within the rapidly growing energy sector. Wichita State's partnership with LDS and Ducommun will enable the technology to be further developed with the intent of commercialization. The partnership involves the exclusive licensing of a lightning strike protection system for rotor blades in the wind turbine industry, the product of several years of research and development by LDS and Billy Martin, Senior Research Scientist for the Environmental Test Lab, and his team at Wichita State's National Institute for Aviation Research. 10 Wichita State students presented their work at the 17th Annual Capitol Graduate Research Summit on Wednesday at the Capitol Building in Topeka. Topics included hydraulic fracturing noise and health concerns for Kansans, and intrusion detection for 3D printers, an electrical power analysis approach. The purpose of the summit is to provide an opportunity for selected graduate students to expose state government, education officials, and the general public to the quality of graduate research performed in the state of Kansas. Students from Wichita State, as well as the University of Kansas, Kansas State, and the University of Kansas Medical Center were selected. On March 4, 5 Wichita State students will present research during Undergraduate Research Day at the Capitol. To learn about research at Wichita State, subscribe to the Wichita State Research Newsletter, which begins March 12 by emailing president@wichita.edu. Major General Daniel G. Mitchell, commander of the U.S. Army Tank Automotive and Armaments Command, and Brigadier General Paul H. Pardue, commanding general of the Army Contracting Command, and a team of a dozen Army personnel visited the National Institute for Aviation Research's Aircraft Structural Test and Evaluation Center and the National Center for Aviation Training yesterday afternoon. The group will visit NIAR laboratories on campus and conclude discussions this morning. This group, which also includes representatives from the Army Materiel Command, Aviation and Missile Command, and Ground Vehicle Systems Center, is interested in the university's digital engineering and sustainment resources. And now our featured speaker. Brian Amos, Assistant Professor of Political Science at Wichita State, has dedicated numerous papers and conferences to gerrymandering research. Amos's work is a part of an expedition series on display at Wichita State's Ulrich Museum of Art titled Solving for X, and each show is organized by the Ulrich in collaboration with a university scholar. The museum's goal is to work with scholars in all disciplines to create visualizations of their research and explore the potential for the museum to give the public access to the important research happening on campus. Without further ado, Brian Amos.
All right, thank you. Again, I'm Dr. Amos, and I'm here to talk a little bit about the work I've been doing in the field of redistricting as part of the political science department here at Wichita State. And I'm actually here on the cusp of something of a special occasion. It's not why I was invited to talk, but it's kind of a nice coincidence. In 2 weeks, everybody should be getting a piece of mail from the U.S. Census instructing them how to be counted by the census. If you're not familiar, once every 10 years, the federal government goes around and counts where all of us live. And I'm not here as part of Kansas Counts or the Census Bureau, but the data they release is a big part of the research that I do. And actually, when they release their numbers from this count about a year from now, that kicks off the process that I do study. And again, that's redistricting. So one of the aspects with the census is that we will realize that the districts we have in place for the U.S. House or the state legislature, those districts will have populations that are out of balance with each other. So I have a map here of the Kansas State Senate, and the red districts and orange districts are ones that are currently a bit overpopulated, and the green ones are currently underpopulated. So these are numbers from a couple years ago on official counts. So we know that in a couple years from now, the state is going to have to kind of shrink these red districts to have fewer people and grow these green districts to have more people. So in terms of who actually gets to do this process, in most states, including Kansas, these are going to be partisan politicians. So the danger when partisanship is involved is that they're going to do this process to benefit themselves or their party. And we refer to when this happens as gerrymandering. And this is the focus of the exhibit that's currently up at the Ulrich Museum, the Solving for X series. I have an example here from Texas, which is generally considered a gerrymandered state. And the state legislatures who draw these lines have a bit of an advantage over the average person. Not only can they bring in the census data that is open to the public, but they can pay consultants to gather a lot of election data down to the neighborhood precinct level, pair it with geography, pair it with that census data, and essentially throw it all into a computer. And they can have interactive maps colored with whatever variable they want, be it racial concentrations or partisan concentrations. As they tweak the maps on the top there, they might have running totals of population counts, so they can get very specific with how they draw these districts. And they tend not to release these data to the public, and they certainly don't have access to these software systems made to the public. So if you are an observer, like myself or other scholars, you might be at a disadvantage. If the state legislature releases a plan, we might not have all the information to analyze what exactly they're doing. So it would be great if there were open source software to analyze these maps, and somebody who has collected these election data and paired them with election geography and released that to the public. That's a massive technical undertaking that the average person or even single researcher can't do. But I'm part of a team that is trying to undertake that process. So I'm part of the voting and election science team, which is myself and some researchers at the University of Florida. And we have been funded to gather, starting with 2016 data, election precinct results paired with precinct geography, which in some states is, again, a massive project. We're coming up to the end of our 2016 gathering process. So I have a map here of what we currently have. This is about 120,000 precincts at the moment. We are currently being funded by a grant from the Alfred P. Sloan Foundation, a little over $800,000 to do 2018 election results, and we hope to get some funding next year to gather 2020 election results. And again, all of this is with an eye towards monitoring and analyzing the redistricting process that will happen 1.5 years, 2 years from now. We have been releasing data as we've been collecting it. So we've actually had some people use our data. So if you were following the Iowa caucus's results via the New York Times website, this precinct map is ours. So this came from Wichita State and University of Florida. But beyond that, focusing more on the Wichita State side of things, the political science department is excited for this redistricting process. So not next year, but the academic year after that, we'll be offering a course specifically on redistricting using these data that we've collected. Part of that course will be sort of theoretical readings about the history of redistricting, what the politics are, but a major portion of the class will be hands-on work with the data, teaching students how to use GIS systems, so geographic information systems, and one of their final projects will be creating a district map that they can submit to the state legislature. We'll be offering the course parallel with the actual redistricting process as the state conducts it. So hopefully they'll be able to be involved with the process in some way. And in addition to that, we are looking towards the broader community in the city, the county, and also the state in offering a contest for redistricting. So we're still in the initial planning stages of this, but we hope to try to bring in high school students, college students, and the general public in a contest to draw the best U.S. Congress maps and the best state legislative maps, hopefully with some prize money available to help encourage people to think about what good redistricting is, and hopefully to pay a little bit of attention to what the state is doing. So most of this that I've talked about before, scholarly attention, public attention, media attention, will be on state and federal redistricting. The stakes are a little bit higher there. My personal research is focused more on local redistricting, though. So I specifically focus on county commissions. In a sense, this is much more common than federal and state redistricting. Obviously, there are thousands of counties in the country. And one lesson to take away, I'm starting this research project at the moment, but there is a lot of variation state by state. So Minnesota is a great example of a state that looks a lot like kind of the normal redistricting process at the state level. The Secretary of State's office gives a lot of resources to the counties to carry out this process, and they collect and release election data to the public. Other states, like Kansas, for instance, there isn't that centralization. So if we do want to research how these districts are being drawn and what sort of outcomes they have, you essentially have to go county by county. In some cases, the best available map was hand-drawn, and I got texted a photo of it by somebody in the county clerk's office. Obviously, this is going to be something different than Sedgwick County, where the Wichita Eagle is going to cover that process very intensely. And we already know that county commissions do look different, their district plans. So this is the map of Cowley County, for instance. District 3 here is especially interesting, so that northern district in pink is also connected with that little pink part in the southwest, which that sort of discontinuity is not something you see in state and federal redistricting. For some reason we see that kind of all over the place in Kansas counties. Perhaps more alarming, we also see cases where counties aren't doing the population balancing that is required by the Constitution that we're seeing at the state and federal levels. So as the next couple years progress, that will be a major focus of my research, why these sorts of outcomes happen. But I think I will leave it off there for my portion of the talk. All right, well, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Amos. Are there any questions over today's briefing or topics? We'll close by reminding you of the vision to be internationally recognized as the model for applied learning and research, and our mission to be an essential educational, cultural, and economic driver for Kansas and the greater public good. Thank you for coming to today's briefing. The next briefing will be here in the Radigan Student Center on March 5th.